Heavenly Easter with Viral Question is the name of this video. How can we have a heavenly Easter with a question going viral? Well, here's a question. Would you be saved by an interest-free central bank credit card that you can take the rest of your life to pay back? Would your family be saved by an interest-free credit card to tide them over now with the rest of their lives to pay it back? How much would your friends be saved by an interest-free central bank credit card, whatever country you're in? Well, if the answer is yes, all you have to do is ask someone else the same question. And if they say yes, ask them to ask someone else the same question too. Is this what could save you from what's happening, what's coming? Article, praying for an Easter miracle. Remember, miracles do happen, so people are praying that a miracle will get us all through this China coronavirus crisis. Well, that miracle happens to be interest-free central bank accounts. And what's neat is almost 40 years ago when I first determined the equation for inflation, that it was a direct function of the interest rate, the media called it the miracle equation because it explained everything like economics did not. So now we have the miracle equation, Termel's miracle equation, coming in to possibly save us from the coronavirus catastrophes, which are all financial, right? Something wrong with the money. If you had a sugar daddy who'd lend you what you need while you were down, and then you could pay him back over the rest of your life later, wouldn't that be perfect? Well, that's what I want the central banks to do. So let's take a look quickly at what's going on. Milan, the university study estimates 20 million Italians with it, and only 0.25%, 2.3% rate of death, much lower than predicted. And of course, it says Brazil and Sweden left their economies open and mortality is almost the same. So just coping with it, living with it like a regular flu seems to have made it act like a regular flu. So, and finally, Bronx Zoo tiger tests positive for COVID-19. Uh-oh, cats can transmit this thing? Well, if you think that person to person was bad, wow, now we can get it from our pets too and give it to our pets. So I think we better start changing our tactics because I don't see us quarantining our pets very soon. Now, the situation. 1/4 of Americans have no emergency savings. Oh, wouldn't an interest-free credit card do them good? Nearly 60% don't have 1 month. Oh, wouldn't an interest-free credit card get rid of their stress? Food banks warn they will soon run out of food. Oh, wouldn't an interest-free credit card alleviate that stress? My local supermarket in San Diego, prices are ridiculous already. And then he gives these high prices for food out there. And then UK's domestic abuse helpline receives 25% more calls. I'm talking about the deaths and the agonies by poverty, if not by sickness. And of course, everybody being cooped at home. Can you imagine how much extra abuse there is, and child abuse too? And horrifying global surge in domestic violence amid the coronavirus possible hoax. And then all the jobs are gone. Africa facing complete economic collapse. So you have never seen destruction like we've seen this week, this month, whenever. So the point is, can it all be stopped and can everybody be saved with an interest-free credit card you can pay back over the rest of your life? Now remember, right now in the United States, they're talking about bonds, okay? Is that here? There it is. War bonds, they're calling it. So instead of having Donald Trump print Treasury chips and paying people to build stuff, he wants the Fed to lend money to the banks interest-free so they can buy government bonds, and then the government can tax us to pay the bondholders interest. So they're coming up with a way to make us pay interest. when Trump has a way to not make us pay interest. Isn't that incredible? Now, of course, the Dems are going crazy. Dem lawmaker will refer charges against President Trump against humanity. He's causing deaths by his incompetence. And Mika claims there's got to be some sort of financial ties for Trump and the coronavirus company, the vaccine people. And the hydroxychloroquine people. Well, sure enough, he put his money into a mutual fund of hundreds of stocks, and one of them is a company that makes hydroxychloroquine. They got him. Wow. He might have made himself an extra 10, 20% on one of his 500 stocks. Now, Susan Rice crosses the line. Again, these things costing tens of thousands of American lives. And of course, here's Bernie warns Trump may do something bad. Yeah, he may do something else bad. He may do something else bad. But here's the worst one of them all. Pence nails ABC host cheap shot. Do you talk to God about the people who die because of your inaction? Imagine a reporter asking the vice president, do you feel bad about the people who died because of you? What a loaded question. Now, he ignored it and just, talked about some banalities about trying to do his best and all that. And we're working hard and the usual stuff. But he really missed the answer there to these people who are going to scream that he didn't do it on time. You're in action. Now, every right decision could have always done sooner, right? If it was right to do it, well, it was right to do it the day before. So that every right decision could have been done earlier. And that's what he should have said. He should have said to the guy, you're right. Every correct decision could have been done sooner. Now, what gave you an indication that you knew it should have been done sooner? You see what happened here? You admit that every good decision could have been done sooner, and he's criticizing you for not seeing that it could have been done sooner, and you're asking him, okay, what made you see it? And he probably never saw it either. But what a sleazebag, Byron Pitts, really the Pitts. Now, finally, immunity certificates. Bill Gates wants people to have immunity certificates to prove they've been vaccinated and they have the antibodies. Now, that means that healthy people suffer house arrest and only those who got it and survived can go out. Does that sound smart to you? Now, of course, instead of upping your immunity with fasting and urine therapy, you can always count on Bill Gates developing 7 new vaccines to sell you. I'm not. But immunity certificates. Well, what's that saying? That's saying that you got the antibodies. Now, you can get those antibodies not only in a vaccine, but you can also get those antibodies in what they call blood serum. And basically, they take the serum out of the blood out of a survivor, and they pull out the antibodies, and then they give it to a sick person who gets better. Now, I've postulated that of the 3,000 beneficial components, medicinal components in urine, after 99.9% of the pathogens in blood have been filtered out, one of those 3,000 beneficial components is probably the antibody for the coronavirus. So, if I knew somebody who had survived corona, I'd ask them for a glass of pee. And I'd introduce my immune system to this virus in its weakest form. So, just to let you know that my videos over the last week have gone into great depth into the possible use of pee-pee to immunize people in the past before we had such developed medicine to shut down old wives' tales. But don't forget, almost everybody remembers how peeing on a cut cures it and heals it best. They don't know why, stem cells. But the point was, they know that. So the question is, did they also know that if this kid's got the measles, may as well give some of his pee to the other kids so they get the antibodies and don't suffer it too? So, I am betting that, first of all, drinking the other guy's pee is completely harmless. And I might also get some other viruses he beat, antibodies. Anyway, so yeah, if I knew somebody who beat it, I'd drink their pee without thinking a second time, because it's either no danger or it helps, one or the other. So average it out. Anyway, now back to the viral equation, the exponential equation. You just have to ask somebody, would you be saved with an interest-free sugar daddy credit card for your current consumption till the quarantine's over that you can pay back over the rest of your life? Would that save you from all the misery and stress you're undergoing right now? To know that you got this interest-free credit line to buy everything you need while you're down, and then you'll have the rest of your life to pay it back when you're back up. So, can you imagine anything else that could possibly occur before Easter in the next 5 days, other than a global reset of the banking software to grant everybody an interest-free account? How hard is that for our computer people to do? Not hard. And therefore, by Easter, Donald Trump's resurrection could be happening on Easter, because those people who feel threatened can stay home with no qualms and fears of finance. And the young people who don't feel threatened can get out in the world, and if they get a cold, they go to bed for 3 days. All right? And if they start breathing hard, differently, get to the emergency. But most of the people, it's a cold, you go to bed a couple of days, it's over, if you even get any symptoms. So they overestimated the numbers for corona, and they underestimated the numbers for flu to compare the two. And whereas flu, actually, you're going to lose a lot more people to flu who make it into hospital than you do for corona. Flu is 10%. Corona, we heard, was 3.4, then 2%, and then 1.2%, and it keeps going down. But flu, we always knew, was 10% of hospitalized cases, and they estimate 100 times more. Therefore, its death rate's really 100 times less. So use the death rate 100 times less measured through the whole population and compared it to the death rate to the people recognized with corona. And that was the fraudulent comparison that Fauci and all these people did. Okay. And it always exaggerated the panic and the danger. When it looks like we're finding out more and more that we got all these ventilators and all these beds and we're not even going to need them. Wow. But the hysteria of getting organized and seeing all that action, it upped the hype, made it believable. Just like the hazmat suits in China, okay, and the fumigating the streets. I'd like an explanation for why they did that. So that's it. If you know that an interest-free credit card would save you from this calamity, well, all you got to do is ask another person. And that causes the exponential effect. Because if they agree it would save them, the only duty they got left is to ask someone else. Tell them about it. Did you know that there's this idea that could save us? Do you agree it would save you? Yeah, it does. Well, then go tell someone about it. That here's this idea that can save us. And all we got to do is get Parliament to approve it. And it's done. And that way we don't have to worry about taxation and Parliament and all that kind of stuff. It's all run through the Bank of Canada or a central bank. So the easiest way to run your chips is through the bank, not the government. And so on that note, I think over the next days, this is pretty a complete message. Urine is the way I think we're going to be able to get our antibodies, and we can fix it overnight anytime. It's been the Spock. It's like switching a disc. I've been joking about this for decades. It's as easy as switching a disc. Now we don't have discs no more. We got DVDs. Anyway, the point is, 40 years I've been saying we should do this. And now, after 40 years and 100 elections, here comes the global catastrophe where it's called for. Come on, admit it. What an end to a story of a quixotic politician who ran 100 losing campaigns to do something that eventually saves the world. Don't tell me that's not a funny story and I never have to run in another election again. Proving I wasn't in it for the publicity. I was always in it to get the power to reprogram the computer to give them interest-free credit cards and then retire. Because if the computer gets reprogrammed, I don't need to retire, never got elected, but I don't need to run again, do I? I can go play poker the rest of my life. So anyway, 25 years, top of the world. So that's it right now. I can't imagine too much I'm going to be able to report, but I'll keep trying. But that's it. If we can start this question, it's a question. Will this save you? And if you say, yeah, should you tell someone else? Put the question to them. And if people find that they have to answer, yes, this would save me, and then they have to put the question to someone else, well, we're going to have the exponential growth needed to save ourselves, especially if it's more than one person a day. Maybe it's one person an hour. Then it's done in 2 days. So watch for exponential growth with the viral question of, will an interest-free credit card save you? I bet it will.